What are you doing in Chicago?
Brilliant.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm here not for stand-up purposes. I'm here more on a personal basis, but while I'm here, I do try to do mics up here as well. So I'll try to find an open mic. They're not hard to find. They're everywhere in Chicago. So
yeah. Have you ever been in that one where they spin the wheel?
No, where's that at?
I think it's the comedy. I think it's the comedy bar. I'll ask Chris. He'll remind me. But
there's comedy
one
bar.
There's on a special. There's like a certain open mic they do where they spin a wheel and it tells you if you have to like how many minutes you get or if you get like a free pizza. I had to do my set off stage. They have one of the things on there is you do your set from backstage.
That's wild. Find out where that is because I would love to go there. That sounds absurd, and I love.
I hope they're still doing it. I'll ask Chris which one.
Hey, Ruben, I didn't know you.
Like the Russian stand-up comedy.
Hey, Ruben, I didn't know you know Chris Rock.
Not that Chris. It's a different Chris.
Oh, God. Oh, JT.
It's a Chris from the area, from Akron. But yeah, is there anything we need to talk about particularly up top at first, or just my experiences, or what I learned about anything, or?
Well, anything that sure your experiences would be good. If anyone else in the troupe has any questions that they would like to ask you, that would also be cool. If you would like to hold the questions for a specific part, that's also cool as well.
I was going to talk about my experience at first. I started doing it when I was 21, so it's been about 3 years going on before, which is weird. I was bad. I was really bad at first, as most people are. That is not unusual. It's okay to be bad initially. You might not get a lot of laughs initially. It's a lot of trial and error, as with most things. So for me, it was really learning how comedy works structure-wise, how to create a setup and punchline, which I'm sure you talk about in here in the comedy troupe as well. So it was a lot of that. And the biggest thing that helped me was just getting up on stage and working stuff out. That was a big thing, because if you're doing it, when you're doing it, that's where you learn. You sort of learn by doing. There are some classes you could take and stuff like, and CADA has a lot of classes that help guide you, but that's the best way of going to learn. And then also just watching a bunch of stand-up is something I always love. I've been watching stand-up since I was 8. I've watched Chris Rock's Never Scared special at a way too young age. But from there, you sort of learn how other people do sort of set punchlines. And I love it. It's allowed me to sort of create content that's in my voice, which is something I wasn't able to do in other art stuff that I tried. So I love it. There are moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? But then my brain is like, oh, I have an idea for a bit, or like, man, why am I not on stage? And I'm like, okay, I have to go do that thing. So it's something that I really can't get rid of at this point, and I'm just realizing I'm stuck with it. But it's been a really cool way just to express myself, and it makes people happy. So that's my experience. I started in Akron, started performing in Cleveland a lot more. I host a weekly showcase in Tremont, which is a neighborhood in Cleveland that does stand up and characters and whatnot. The biggest thing I learned from doing that too is just the importance of trying out new stuff and not getting stuck in your own ways. I've seen comics do the same set for 5 years and they're not happy with it because they're not trying new stuff. But I've seen comics who've never done characters or did a new joke, and there's sort of this spark that sort of gets in their eyes and they do try something new and it works. And it's sort of magical and just makes their set better. So trying new things is also pretty big. I'm sorry this is so sporadic. It's just I have a lot. This is a lot in here.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, but comedy's fun. Trying new stuff is fun. Being in a troupe of people who you can bounce ideas off of is very valuable. So I'm glad you all are here and that you're working with each other to create content and create comedy, because that's stand-up stand-up is good, It can be sort of lonely. Even though it's solo, you can sort of talk to other comics, run jokes by them, get their perspective. It's singular, but it's also a very big community thing that you can do as well.
Okay.
So
Chris Rock is your role model?
I'm sorry?
Chris Rock is your role model?
Oh, he's one of my favorites. I love how he's able to take almost any topic and talk about it at length. He talks about heavy stuff like race, anything from his personal life, and is able to create a very well crafted that doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. Like it's like I'm talking to him, but I'm not really talking to him because he's sort of doing his own thing on stage. So I love him for sure. And I guess I'll leave it, and this is good. I'll just leave that for any questions you may have about stand up or anything, because I think that's a good use of me being here. Just answer questions. I'll go with Max because I haven't met you yet. Hi, Max.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
My question for you is, can you explain your process a little bit from, like you said, that sometimes you'll think of a bit. What's your process from the thought to stage?
So I've been tweaking this a lot. I've had to change processes a lot. I'll tell you where I am right now and what I even did this morning. So I'll think of an idea. Two ideas come to me in two ways. I'll think of something that's like really interesting or funny in my life. Like for instance, my niece told me in real life, she said, "Uncle Jordan, are you actually a grown up?" And I thought that was just the funniest thing ever. So I write that down, and I just sort of
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 24 by the way, so I'm technically am, but not really. So what I'll do from there is I'll write that idea and I'll write little points under it. I'm a big bullet person, so I can do bullet points of just things that come to mind when I think about that. So I was like, okay, and I won't really focus on trying to form the joke just yet. I'll just try to find things related to that joke. So I'll write it all out. Then I'll take that and I'll try to condense it into things that are funny that I'll think of what's funny about that. And so I think the joke I came up with that is my niece asked me if I was a grown up, and I thought about it. And since I was sitting at the kids' table at Thanksgiving, I had to tell her no.
Now
So with
that's
that,
funny.
I had to think of a situation that was like, okay, what's gonna make it so it's like, oh, am I an adult? Like what? Well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. I think about what's my point of view on this? What am I trying to say? With this certain topic, I'm trying to say I'm not really an adult. I am an adult, but I still have a lot of kid features to me. So I'll think about the best way to sort of say that. And I think a good way, and I thought a good way was like, oh, let me just reveal later that I'm sitting at the kids' table at Thanksgiving. That's the ultimate like kid love.
Hooray!
Exactly.
So
I'll
Jordan,
think of like different. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
When they asked you the question, were you actually at the kids' table on Thanksgiving?
Good question. No, I was not. I think it was some holiday. I don't remember what that was, and that's a good thing to bring up. So I heard from somebody that you want to keep the truth as long as possible. In that sort of situation. What is true is that yes, we did sit at the kids' table together because we are just how my family works. It's like the youngest is her, the next is me. So of course we were sitting next to each other. We were closest to age together. But she did ask me that at a family function. So for the purpose of the joke, I was like, what can I include that has the feeling of being true that I can add to that? So I took some liberties with that, in which you'll find that you'll have to do sometimes, or that's perfectly okay. Is that the truth? The most important thing with that is that I found the truth that was in it. Is that I am sort of a childish adult. My niece actually did ask that, and we often do sit together at family functions because that's just how it works out. So good question. Good question about that.
It seems like a great opportunity for that specific conversation you just had.
Exactly. And then from there, what I'll do, just real quick, talk about how I take it to stage, is I'll take that idea, I'll have like an outline, and then I'll work it out on stage. I mean, I'll just tell the joke, how I wrote it out initially and see what sticks. I'll listen to the reaction of the audience. If the audience likes a certain part, or I laugh at a certain thing, I'll keep it. You're actually the first people I've tried that joke on. So I know that joke works, so I'm gonna keep that. If it doesn't work, I go back to drawing board and like, okay, what did work about that? What can I replace it with? And I just keep doing that until I have a joke that I like. So that's my process with it, at least. I will go to Sid next.
Okay. What year, when did you decide you wanted to do stand up?
Good question. So I was 21. Let me give you a bit more context what was going on with me during that time. So I had just left being a theater major just because it wasn't the thing I really wanted to do. And I was sort of lost. I knew that I liked performing, but I didn't. I wanted to take more ownership over the things that I was writing. So when I was 21, I was sort of looking for different outlets for performing, and I saw there was an open mic in my college town. Ruben, you know the Gyro in Kent.
I know
That's where I started.
I've done that.
Then I tried it out. I wasn't terrible. And I did it the next night. The next 4 times I was really bad. But for something inside me was like, oh, I want to get better at this. I liked the process. And so that's how I sort of figured out that, oh, I wanted to do stand up and I'd actually enjoy doing it.
Okay, got no. Okay.
And then Justin, did you have a question? I think I saw your hand up.
Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. I was a little bit intrigued by what you said about stretching the truth. It seems like, what is the relationship between how much of a joke is true and how much of a joke is sort of like fabricated? Like, what would you say is like a good balance in between there? I know that like sometimes you have to stretch the truth in order to make something funnier, but like just wondering like what's the like what would you say is like a good balance?
I just heard something recently. I went to a workshop in Cleveland with a touring guy, and he told me something that really helped with this. I'm gonna share with you all. He said, "Hold the truth for as long as you can in a story, because it's in between that setup and punchline sort of journey. The setup is merely just everything to sort of help give context to the funny thing you're going to say." So in that setup, you want to keep whatever you're telling as true as you can for as long as you can. And only when you have to edit something to make it funny that you do that. So with my niece joke that I told, I wanted to make sure that I retain that relationship that we had and in having that true statement in there. I only switched it up during that punchline when I needed that switch. I didn't make up. I didn't add a bunch of stuff in that wasn't true. I kept the truth as long as I could. I kept sorry, I'm getting lost in my thoughts. I only changed it when I needed a funny thing for the punchline. That was a big thing. So keep your setups as true as you can. Because that's where it is. And maybe truth isn't always what actually happened, but maybe it's also what's called an emotional truth. And so that is the feeling of the truth. Like, how did you feel in that moment? And sometimes you can construct a reality around that feeling. Because sometimes it's like you create a situation where it's like, oh yeah, I feel this, but you sort of give context. You sort of give an example of another situation that may or may not happen, but that emotional feeling that you felt, that feeling is true, and you stay true to that. But you just create circumstances to allow that feeling to grow. Please tell me that made sense, because it sounded jumbled mess. But
it made sense, Joe.
Interpretation is key on that one, and I feel like I got it. I got like where you were going on that.
Well, Jordan, I got one question for you. One more. Say you on stage and you sign a contract. How you know they ain't gonna take your body of work?
I'm not at the level yet where I have to deal with sort of that, but I can talk about sort of stealing jokes and stuff like that. There is sort of like that risk you have when you go up stage that someone might steal your material. I'm trying to write a lot of personal stuff that are very specific to me, so that other people, like if Ruben tried to tell my joke, let's say about me looking like Wayne Brady, it's not going to make sense for Ruben because he does not look like Wayne Brady.
You don't.
What?
It's not.
What?
I don't mean to drop that bomb on you, Ruben, but yeah, I know. I'm so sorry.
No one styles there.
That's the best thing to do. You can make it as original to you as possible so that it only works if you tell it. And that's something that you can try to do. Ultimately, if someone steals it, it's terrible, but that's why you have a whole body of work that you can sort of go to. And ultimately, people will know if they end up stealing your material because you'll be around sort of the community and they'll be like, hey, that sounds like a joke that Jordan told. And they're pretty they're pretty quick to call you out on it. I don't think I've seen really anybody get away from it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, joke thievery is something that all comedians worry about, and there's just not much you can. There's only so much you can do about it.
Yeah.
I would agree with what Jordan said there. That tends to be my approach as well, which is to write jokes that are specific to my life. Someone could steal them, but I would know. Because that's my dad I'm talking about, darn.
Yeah, that's my story. I'm going through with my stuff.
I'm working on this joke about how I look like Mark Ruffalo that I did not steal from Sid.
Well, both have jokes about you looking like Mark Ruffalo.
I think.
To me, he looked like Steph freaking Rollins, but okay.
Well, like multiple people also like the artist talent too. And for that point, I think you're probably telling a joke, but if you want to make more specific, what point in Mark Ruffalo's career are you talking about? Sid, I think, has going like Avengers Mark Ruffalo. Max, I feel like you're going like 13 going on 30 Mark Ruffalo.
I would say Foxcatcher Mark Ruffalo for Sid.
Oh, Foxcatcher Mark Ruffalo. There we go. I forgot he was in that movie.
It's a good movie.
So even details like that you can even make specific to you.
Yeah, like fun fact, actually, I might be related to Mark Ruffalo. Yeah.
Oh wait, I've heard you say that before. That's right. That is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions about stand-up or?
Actually, yeah. What kind of jokes do you tell?
Good question. I really like to tell stories in my set. I like to have a story, beginning, middle, and end sort of thing. I don't do as well with setup punchline stuff. I'm trying to get better at that, just something I want to do. But I like taking the audience through a journey, and having jokes flutter throughout the story. So I definitely like that. I'm not really a dirty comic in a sense that I don't have like a bunch of curse words to talk about like gross stuff. Mostly because it doesn't sound right coming out of me. So I basically find stuff that is true to me and stuff that I know that I would feel comfortable talking about. And I go based off of that too. So I don't really go with the intention of like what kind of comic I'm gonna be. I sort of try to discover styles and see, oh, does this fit who I am? Does this fit the sort of persona that I want to develop? If it doesn't, I don't do it. I don't feel pressure to do what everyone else is doing. I sort of feel what's right for me. Because that's all you can do. That's what makes you good.
Well,
and
what I like about
and you want to keep it appropriate for the audience.
Yeah, that's something else to think about. Because there are some places you're going to perform that are going to be different than others. And so if like you're in like a theater full of like 1 billion people, you might not have a chance, to be more intimate or to do as much crowd work because the whole audience can't see that person. So you want to be careful with that. But if you're like in a smaller space where everyone can see everybody, you have a more of an opportunity to sort of mess with people in the audience you can see. So you have to be aware of that sort of thing. If you're in like a town that doesn't have if you're in a town that's not Cleveland, you don't want to do a bunch of Browns jokes there because you're not going to get it, But if you're in Cleveland, feel free to do as many Browns jokes as you can. I'm going to read a message Wendy just sent to me so I can answer that. When you're playing a lot of clubs in the same area, do you have more than one set of jokes? How many routines does stand-up comic have? Different routines for different audiences? I've heard multiple theories on this, so that's a really good question.
Yes, I have a joke.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to answer this question. I never do new material if I'm doing like a book show in a sense where I'm asked to come on a show. There are places called open mics where it's like anyone can go perform if you're given a certain set amount of time. That's where I will try new jokes. And I think the sort of common knowledge between everyone in open mics is that we're all going to be trying out the same jokes just to get them better. So in that open mic circuit, you're going to want to have those sort of same sets. But when you start to get those bigger clubs, you want to make sure you have like, your 7-minute set that you sort of, go to places to do. I've learned from this guy, this workshop I have is like just to crack different 7-minute sets, um, just for different venues. A lot of what we compare it to back in the old days was the late night sets. So you want to have like a nice 5 clean minutes that could air on TV because there are certain rules of like, certain things you can say. So a lot of comics will have stuff that they say at those shows that they have to for that set. Maybe they'll have some for, like I said, if you're doing something specific to the local town you're in, they'll have a set that's specific to that. So the goal is to have a couple different. The first goal I think is to have a couple different sets that you can take, that you can certainly change. But ultimately, too, you also want to build a whole show. So some people also work towards building a whole hour full of stuff that sort of goes together. So I think about it. I think about venue in the terms of what kind of space or what kind of impressions do I want to give people, or what am I trying to show people. So I think about all of that in consideration. So hope that answers that question. Samir, I know you had a question, so I'm going to go to you.
What if Nick Kennick is an actor?
I'm sorry?
Nick Kennick is an actor?
Nick
Comedian?
Cannon is an actor, yes. Not a stand-up. And there are people who do comedy who aren't really stand-up comedians, who are more comedic actors. And there's the term comic versus comedian. However, it is that comics with a C, not with the ENs, comics are people who usually do stand-up. Comedians are people who do more like characters. They'll do more acting performances and then other stuff that isn't necessarily stand-up. They can also do stand-up, but usually they do a bunch of other stuff that isn't just stand-up. Ruben, would you agree with that? I feel like there are different schools of thought.
I've never heard like necessarily a breakdown of the terminology necessarily in regards to that. But I mean, that makes sense. There are lots of people who we could define as comedians, who do not necessarily do stand-up comedy. Like Will Ferrell is a comedian, but he doesn't really do stand-up, although he does have that special where he plays George W. Bush. But he's not. But he doesn't technically. You would not go to a stand-up club and see Will Ferrell performing, which is not to say that he doesn't perform on stage, just that he doesn't really do stand-up. Bill Murray is a comedian, but Bill Murray is also not really associated with doing stand-up. These guys got their start in the improv scenes, doing improvisational theater.
Go ahead. Yeah, a lot of people on SNL are comedians. But not necessarily comics, but then there also are people who are comedians and comics on SNL. Pete Davidson is a comedian and comic. Kenan Thompson is a comedian. He doesn't really do stand-up, but he does sketches and characters and comedic roles and stuff like that.
So I found out that he actually did do stand-up one time. He did. It was when he was involved with making the Fat Albert movie. Because he got to meet Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby asked him to do a thing. And he said he had no idea what he was doing.
Well, that's like, which is funny because he's like a sketch comedy expert at this point. He's like a big sketch comedy guy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill
Try to have fun with it.
Oh, God. You got a question?
Seth, you have a question?
Yes. Would you ever think about doing comedy, like stand up? Would you ever this is like stand up? Would you ever think about doing like stand up, sorry, I word this. Like a stand up, like impressions, doing stand up jokes, like impression jokes or anything like that, like impressions for comedy, like
doing impressions in my stand up?
Yeah.
I actually do. I do 3 impressions in one
Ooh,
joke.
okay.
I do Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I do Scooby-Doo, and I do Shaggy the Rapper. That's one of my favorite jokes.
Oh my God! Can I hear one of them?
When I heard you did both of them, I was hoping they were in the same joke.
Oh, they're all 3 in the same joke. It's a grand fun time. And that's the cool thing with stand-up. You can do whatever you want, really. It's your show. So someone described it to me that you are the writer, director, actor, producer of your own set. So you have the power to make it sort of whatever you want. So you have really full ownership of that sort of stuff. So if you like doing impressions and you're good at them, you can do whatever sort of impressions you want in that. You would just have to figure out, it's like a setup punchline. You want to figure out what's the best setup for you to do that impression as your punchline. Or maybe the impression is the setup to a different punchline. Maybe you're trying to talk about a character person and use that to sort of illustrate that on stage. It's part of that working it out and writing it out and seeing what works. But stand-up definitely has room for you to be doing impressions and other skills of that sort of thing. Who really does impressions on like? There's someone who's a really good impressionist who does stand-up. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I'm not a fan of him, but I do have an example.
Go ahead.
Frank Caliendo.
Who?
Frank Caliendo.
I don't know if I know him.
He got famous in the late 90s, early 2000s for doing his John Madden impression on Mad TV.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
He also does the Bush staring into the sun joke.
Yeah, he
did.
He was on Mad TV for a while, and he impersonated most of the celebrities essentially. And the thing is that that's really all there is to Frank Caliendo's act, is that he literally just does impressions.
Interesting.
Which was something that did not work out for him when he got his own solo show. And people were like, "Oh, wait, that's all he really does."
That's fair.
Hey, Jordan, what's the difference between music and stand-up? I mean, is it kind of similar or not?
Musicians are so lucky because they can do the same song for 50 years and people will still love them. But if you're a stand-up and you do the same joke for 50 years, people will get tired of you. I'm bitter. I'm jealous about.
There's a comedian who has a bit on one of his albums about how exactly about that, and he talks about how the difference between being in a band and being a stand-up comedian is that if you go to a show and the band starts playing every song on the album in the order it is on the album, the audience loves it and freaks out. But if a comedian does a show where he tells every joke on an album in the order he tells them on an album, everyone's gonna be like, "This guy's a hack." What? It's a very unfair standard.
Messed up. But there are some comedians who will incorporate music into their stand-up. There's something I love to do because I like doing music. And Bo Burnham is somebody who does stand-up with musical cues, and he creates songs that are meant to be bits, which you could argue ventures more into sort of one-man show-ish, but he makes it work.
Bernie Mac did it one time because he was on TV and he had a band and he was telling a joke and the band was back there and he put the band with the joke, and I don't know how he did it, but it worked. Right.
And that's something too. Yeah, if it works, if you work it out, and it's something you want to do, you as a stand-up have full license to make that show whatever you want. So there is no rule. If you can pull it off and want to get music behind you doing stand-up, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's something new and refreshing. So you're not limited to anything. In that sort of regard.
Zach Galifianakis is another person who's incorporated music into his comedy, even though he does it more as he'll bring a piano on stage and he'll just play mellow piano tunes under his jokes to emphasize them. It's fun to watch.
I think it's
Carvey does that too.
I'm sorry, who does that as well?
Dana Carvey.
Oh, okay.
Dana Carvey. He has a really good one. It was for his SNL audition. It was an edgy pop star, and he just played this song over. It's she want the broccoli, she want the broccoli, she want the broccoli. And the joke is that it's this very serious musician singing about eating broccoli, and it got him SNL, so it was good, and it makes me laugh. So I like it. Any other questions? Thank you for that laugh, Jacob.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, is that the show on Nickelodeon, All That, and the Amanda Bynes show, are those stand-up things, or?
Good question. Those are going to be more sketch comedy.
Okay.
That's sort of what SNL is, and that's sort of where we get sort of more comic versus comedian. So it's like the idea is similar, like going on stage, sort of like there's a joke and there are setups to those jokes that have punchlines to them, but it's more in the sense like it will be like a scene or something of that sort. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to always be a scene, but it's sort of like involves multiple people and usually yeah, it involves multiple people on stage, and it usually isn't just one person talking.
Yeah.
Although sketch can be one person as well, but
And
that's
then-
more sketch comedy.
Okay, and then Keenan and Kel, I don't know, are they stand-up comedy or are those scenes also? Like, I remember they
Keenan
had
and
one of
Kel,
the
that's
burger-
more of what's called a situation comedy.
Okay.
So that's and so that's like your friends, that's your How I Met Your Mother, Blackish, shows that have characters that appear on the show every week. They are usually characters who don't change that much, who go through situations each week. And usually there's what's called an A, B, or C storyline. So the A storyline is sort of the main story of that show, what the main thing's happening with a certain character or main character. B story is sort of a smaller story that's happening along the A story. That's sort of different, but in the same world of it. And then C storyline sort of relates to the A story in most cases. But it's just a different sort of subsection of it. I can go into a whole thing about TV writing because that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's more what sitcom is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. These are really good questions, by the way.
Question for you, Jordan. You said something about a mic that you hosted in Tremont.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a weekly thing, and is it something that I could sign up for?
Yes, and yes. I'm gonna drop it in the chat.
Cool.
Actually, for you.
That's the one you had me come to, right?
You were there the first time. So I worked with it was a fun time. I worked with a group in Cleveland called Imposters Theater, which is a home for improv and sketch and stuff. But we host this weekly showcase meant to work out jokes, meant to work out sort of sets or try new stuff. So yes, you are more than welcome to apply for that. We're actually looking for people coming up soon because I also book the shows. So then I think the chat's private. So I'll pass the information on to Ruben. And Ruben can share that out with all of you. But yes, if you are,
you should be able to. I thought you'd be able to share in the chat.
It's like I can share it with specific people.
Oh,
I can only share it with the host.
There, I changed that. You can share it now.
Everybody.
Okay, Jordan, I got one more question for you.
I didn't realize I had that on.
Okay. The owner of the club, and you know how they have the videotape you, and you be on TV and then you doing stand up, and then you have your stuff on video, and what I'm saying is once the owner get to know you and get a relationship with you, and then they start videotaping you, and then your stuff go all over the world, you have to have a relationship with the owner, because you keep going back, and if you get what I'm saying, you keep going back and they get a relationship.
Certain levels of comedians where they'll go. So there are people who will tour and just do clubs. And they'll just go to clubs all throughout the U.S. and they'll host a weekend. They'll do a weekend of sets. They'll be the headliner, which is the main act that people go to see. They'll do that. What you're talking about is when people get stand-up specials, and usually that's somebody from like a network. Let's say Netflix is a big one. So Netflix will tap somebody and be like, "Hey, we saw you do a couple of clubs, and we'd love to have you come on. Do one of your." To do a show that we would air on Netflix. And so they have a whole contract deal that they sign up with that. But that's somewhere farther down the line after you've been doing it for a minute and you sort of built up skill with that. Some people will go off and sort of do it on their own. They'll just record, they'll just like get a nice camera, some nice audio equipment, record their own set and post it on YouTube. Because we're sort of moving out of the times where we need to have a big studio or corporation advertise you as a stand-up. You can easily, not easily, but it is possible for you to be able to film your own special and then distribute it how you want. A good example of that is Hannibal Buress. He's a cool stand-up comedian who's on Broad City. He has Netflix. He has Netflix specials. But right before the pandemic, Netflix wasn't offering him a special, so he went ahead and filmed one of his specials on his own and released it on YouTube for everyone to sort of see. So he sort of took a more what's called independent route. Ruben, do you want to speak on this a little bit more as well? Or?
You mean the comedy specials and independent versus getting a deal? So yeah, some people do make their own specials. A lot of people do start out on YouTube. There are some comedians now who will stream themselves to Twitch when they perform at things. Comedy specials are something that's pretty associated with success in stand-up comedians. And what's interesting is that you don't necessarily. So the thing about stand-up specials is that they are inexpensive for networks to produce. So they do like to produce them. And the more known a comedian is, the more it will cost to produce it. I do know there are some local comedians who've shot their own specials. I know some comedians who've recorded their own comedy albums. And some of them have had nice success. There was a woman from this area. I haven't heard anything about her lately, but I know she got her album on Amazon. And
are you talking about Mary Santora?
I don't remember the name.
Okay.
It was
sorry, not to throw you off.
No, it's okay. I believe I'm friends with her on Facebook, but I'm not going to try to figure out who she is right now. But that name doesn't sound right though.
Okay.
And there's another guy. You probably know this guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. He's there's another guy in this area who recently got he's got his special out there, and he's got Pimpinella. I want to say Jesse Pimpinella or something.
Oh, I know them. They're in Columbus.
Yes. Oh, he's in Columbus now. That's why I've only seen him on Facebook recently. He recently did a special. He recently created his own special, and he's also, I think him and you are both friends with the one gentleman. Gentleman in the do you know this guy also? I believe you know this guy. The guy oh my god, I'm blanking on so many names today. The gentleman in the wheelchair.
Oh, Matt Onesti.
Yes. He made a special in this area. I think that was a year or two ago. But yeah, so you can make your own specials.
You were one of the first comedians I met besides you, Ruben.
Oh, really? I have not actually met Onesti. I've only seen other people's posts about him, but it would be cool to meet him.
He went to Kent. He was in the same major as I was.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we do have a game to play tonight, but before we move on to that, I do just want to ask everyone, does anyone else have any other questions they'd like to ask Stuart?
We're good.
Once again, Samir, I don't need to tell me they don't have questions. Only when they do. If no one says they have a question, I'll assume we can move on to the next point.
Hey, Ruben, sometimes when you say that, it sounds like a joke. I know he says that all the time. It just sounds like a joke sometimes.
I mean, it could be a joke. He's never expressed it to be a joke, but
because he says so much, it sounds like a joke sometimes.
I think Samir just cares a lot about being very direct.
Yes, he does.
Justin?
I was wondering, you used to said something earlier about like a theater in Cleveland that does a lot of like sketch comedy and like stand-up comedy. What was the name of that theater?
called Imposters Theater.
Oh,
I will
Imposters?
also drop their website in the chat.
I would appreciate that.
Because
Yeah,
they're the ones that
they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
They were
Um,
founded by Michael Bush, I believe. Is that right? Did he start that? I
yeah,
thought
he
he
started that. Michael Bush worked in LA for 15 years. He's from Cleveland. And when he moved back to sort of finish up some family stuff here, he decided he wanted to start teaching classes and open up a place for what's called alternative comedy. So that's more of like your improv and your sketch comedy, as well as host instead of stand-up show. So this is like their first year operating, and they've been doing a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, I host a weekly show. I just dropped the website in the chat, and then if you wanted to go apply for the open for like that showcase, you can email that triple threat imposters@gmail.com. I booked the show, so I'll be more than happy to advocate for y'all who want to do it.
Michael Bush is pretty cool. He knows Keegan Michael Keys.
I think he also knows Jordan Peele. He never said explicitly, but he keeps saying things that make it seem like he knows it.
He's on an episode of their show.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
He also did a bunch of music videos with Trevor Moore from Whitest Kids You Know.
Never.
Okay.
I'm a big Trevor Moore fan, but yeah. Michael Bush is super cool. I know he knows Keegan Michael Keys because one day I was on Facebook and it said, "Hey, these are people you might know," and one of them was Keegan Michael Keys, and it said I knew him through Michael Bush, and like part of me wanted to friend request him, but another part of me was too afraid. I was like, no.
I mean, we have a
I just so like that's just a small thing I know about Michael Bush. But anyways, we do have a punchline game to play. You might want to play it. Wait, you weren't there on Sunday. Never mind. But so you'll be learning this too, Jordan. Okay.
It's a fun game. So
all right. So we
teacher game.
And Scott, are you having trouble with your camera? Let me send you if you're having trouble, let me send you a thing to help turn it on here.
I just wanted to comment, Jordan. I just read what your shirt says. It says LeBron Viraggio Booby. Is there someone under it?
Let's say Drew.
Oh, that's awesome. Those are the Cavs golden years.
Yeah. This is a old shirt. We found this at a garage sale.
Wow.
So actually, speaking of shirts, that's what the game's about. So the way the game works is, and you may have seen this on the internet. I think it's a thing that some people are doing now as a trend thing. But basically, what we're gonna do is the formula works like this. Last night I fell asleep in my Doors shirt and I woke up on the other side.
Yeah.
So what I just did there is I referenced the band, the Doors, and the other side break on through to the other side. It's part of their song. So that's what we're doing essentially.
Oh, I
fell asleep in a blank band shirt, woke up in song, title, or lyric reference. Make sense? Okay. All right.
I'm putting my Spotify now. Is that cheating? Should I not be doing that?
If you need that to help you think of songs, that's okay. But
I don't ever recall playing this game. This game's new.
It is new. Yeah. Yes, it is.
I love this game. I love this game.
There are a small handful of people here who have played this game before because they're involved in a project where we learned it. But for a lot of you, this game may be new, unless you saw it on the internet. All right, Sid, I know you have one.
Okay. I fell asleep in my Weird Al shirt, woke up in an Amish paradise.
Okay. All right. There, that's how that works. All right, Jess, I see your hand up.
All right, I fell asleep in my Adele t-shirt. Now I'm rolling in the deep.
I like that one.
Woo.
Oh, I got no one.
Those are popular songs.
Well, hold on to it, Sid. Let's give other people a chance first here. All right, who'd like to go next? All right, Samir.
I don't want to.
Samir, Samir, I want you to. I love that your hand went up. Let me hear you give this a shot.
I sleep on the shirt door, and I woke up to the bad dream.
Okay, so when I said Adores shirt, Adores is a band.
Oh no.
So just to clarify that for you, Samir, that the door part is not part of the formula. What kind of music do you like to listen to, Samir?
Randy Newman.
Randy Newman. Okay. So if you fell asleep wearing your Randy Newman shirt, how would you wake up?
And it's in a movie called Mario Story.
Think of a Randy Newman song in your head. What's a favorite Randy Newman song in your head?
This is Line of Mine.
So if you fell asleep in your Randy Newman shirt, you would wake up with
This is Line of Mine.
You would wake up with a little light of your own. Okay.
Yay!
Okay.
Hooray!
All right, good job.
Let's see. I'll try one. I fell asleep in my Mac Miller shirt and I woke up swimming.
Huh?
Swimming is the name of his last album.
Okay.
I got.
It helps if it's a popular artist that people know.
I think people know Mac Miller.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know any Mac Miller songs myself, but I've heard that name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got no one.
I'm gonna do a throwback. Well, let someone else go.
Joe Boyle has raised his hand.
I had two. I had to pull one from Jordan. I looked on Spotify. I knew the band name, whatever. So I fell asleep in my Aerosmith shirt. I woke up looking like a lady.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right. Well, that
That's
a
little
I got one.
A little different.
I got a good one.
All right, Sid.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep in my Weezer shirt. Woke up in Beverly Hills.
I'm sorry. What kind of shirt was it?
Weezer.
Oh, Weezer. Oh. Okay. No, I get that one. Yeah, no.
Super important to articulate clearly the name of the band so everyone gets it. And you got to understand that not everyone is going to know your favorite band.
This is true.
Right? I got one, Ruben.
Sure, go ahead.
I fell asleep in my Sex Pistols shirt and I woke up screaming, "God save the Queen!"
Oh, I got another one. I woke up
That was funny.
Post Malone shirt. Woke up running in circles.
Nice. That's a Post Malone song. Yeah, I know that one.
Mm-hmm.
I can vouch for that one. That works.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks, Jordan, for that. Because Post Malone song. Yeah.
So, JT, do you have any? I know you love music.
Prince. You got just some Prince stuff.
Come on. Fall asleep.
I knew y'all were
Prince
going to say
shirt.
it.
Oh my goodness. Got Prince in it. Prince in the back of it. So.
Okay. I fell asleep in my Prince shirt, and I woke up and Dove was crying in my eye.
Aww, that's beautiful.
That's a nice one. I like that.
I just thought I'll switch it up a little bit. So.
It's okay if I do Prince one.
I know Scott's got some.
Go ahead.
He loves music.
I woke in my Kiss shirt.
You fell asleep in your Kiss shirt, right?
I fell asleep in my Kiss shirt, and they were dressed to kill.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
The format is, and I woke up dressed to kill.
And I woke up dressed to kill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting precise wording is part of being a comedian or a comic, right, Jordan?
This is.
You can practice and leave out ands and does, and it doesn't sound right. You just keep working it until
Ooh.
the rhythm is perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good mind.
I got mine.
All right.
Okay.
I apologize ahead of time. I fell asleep in my Britney Spears shirt, and I woke up thinking, "Oops."
I did it again.
We have a winner.
Oh, that one's solid because it has more than one level to it. Yeah.
Oh, I got good. I fell asleep in my Britney Spears shirt. Woke up when I was 22.
Sid, I didn't understand it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually Taylor Swift, Sid.
Taylor Swift, sorry. Thank you. Dang it. Sorry, I'm gonna try another one. I fell asleep in my Kiss shirt. Woke up. I wanted to rock and roll all night.
That's good. That's a good one.
If you fell asleep during the day, it even makes sense.
Hey,
Jake,
Jordan, you
come on,
can
let's have Jake. We can't have Sid taking up all the space.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go, Jake. I know you got one.
I fell asleep on my Star Wars shirt.
And you woke up.
And I woke up for Ahsoka Tano.
Okay, I know who that is. So I know that formatically works. Okay, all right. And you know what? Why not? Why not reference things like Star Wars as well? Because you know what? We've all got printed tees of different things, not just bands. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Oh, why not?
Amanda?
In my college notes shirt. And I woke up in my jeans.
Hold on. Amanda's got one.
Everyone, turn your mic off when you're not speaking. The echoes are terrible.
Got it.
All right. I'm going to give this a go since I'm new at this. I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and I woke up to Elvis standing in my room.
All right. So let me help you out a little bit on that one. So
or I at Graceland or something like that.
Woke up at Graceland would work better. But let me make a suggestion to you. The easiest way to do it is to pick a song of his that you know in your head.
Okay.
And make that the reference.
Okay.
So just to give you an example, I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and I woke up in a heartbreak hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
So pick a song, pick one of his songs in your head, or if you want to get more specific and do like a specific set of lyrics, that's also fine. But I think starting with the song title is the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Just pick a song title of a place a place you could wake up, or a thing you could wake up doing.
A condition.
A condition.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Ruben. I got that joke because when she said it, it made me think of Love Me Tender. Because remember when she said the room part? I got the joke though.
Okay. All right. So give that a try, Amanda.
Okay. All right. I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and I woke up to a teddy bear. I don't know.
Well, here, start with this part. Pick the song first. Pick the song, just any Elvis song. Pick an Elvis song.
Teddy bear.
Okay, so if you want to work that into the format, what you would do is you would take the I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and I woke up with a teddy bear. So it's naturally fits in there. So I woke up with the teddy bear.
Okay. So all right, that was your example. So let's see. I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and woke up to.
Don't say two.
I would say in.
Okay.
In is a good one to go with, but although it does depend on what the song you chose.
Okay, so I fell asleep in my Elvis shirt and woke up to, I don't know, Blue Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, you could wake up to Blue Christmas. Great. Okay, cool. Sid,
this one's a good one.
Notification that you
I got one.
Hand. Let's let Scott go first here, Sid.
Okay.
I woke up, or I slept in my Johnny Cash shirt, and I woke up in a ring of fire.
All right, good. Very good.
Okay. I fell asleep in my Kenny Loggins shirt. Woke up in the danger zone.
That always makes me think of Archer. I see Justin, your hands up.
I woke up in my Jimi Hendrix shirt, and I fell asleep in my Jimi Hendrix shirt and woke up in a purple haze.
I like that
There
one.
you go.
That one's good.
All right. Has anyone not gotten a chance to do one yet? Was it? You have done one, Samir. But if you have another one, I would like to hear it.
Oh, I got another one.
I like Mario wearing the clothes.
No. Use the format.
I like Randy Newman.
No, you fell asleep in.
I fell asleep in Randy Newman's shirt. And I woke up because in the new motion picture soundtrack, Mario's story.
No. You have to have a song by Randy Newman.
The Captain.
And you woke up as a captain.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Say the whole joke one more time, Samir.
I slept with Randy Newman.
I
fell asleep with Randy Newman teacher, and then I woke up and said the captain.
As the captain.
As the captain.
Yeah. A lot of you are trying to put too many words in the song title part of it.
Okay, I got one.
Oh.
This is a good one. I fell asleep in my B-52 shirt. Woke up in a love shack.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. This is a great game to use as an icebreaker when you got a bunch of people that you don't know, and you kind of get an instant survey of what era of music they like, what style of music they like. That's a fun little game.
I like that idea, Wendy. That's really good.
And also, it's useful for teaching a thing that is kind of an abstract concept, which is how to form a punchline.